We are one. Oh, we are Mary.
And from all the lands on earth we come, we'll share a dream
And sing with one voice.
I am, you are, we are Australian.
Man, I love that song. The Seekers, and for those of you that don't know, that precious little voice in there is my daughter Mila's. Yeah, when she was 5, that was off the back of Australia Day last year, and I got her to sing it and was secretly recording her. So thank you to Joel and the team. That's something special for me to have, but also for our listeners to be able to enjoy, because when you hear such a precious, innocent voice singing that song with pride, and bless her, she says, we are one, but we are merry. But, you know, when you hear that, it reminds me of the importance of being able to not just instill that pride in our youth, because as we heard from the school teacher earlier who phoned in, Lynn from the Gold, I mean, that's just shocking. And I've got a lot of text messages I want to get to off the back of that, who said that, you know, this school teacher needs to be interviewed as part of the Royal Commission. But we need to know more from this teacher, because to hear that our kids are being taught to be ashamed of this country, that they don't know who our Prime Minister is, that you've got kids running around with pretend guns and not feeling that sense of pride and patriotism for this great land, that's a real concern. And it's why I really wanted to put the spotlight on what I've called for this segment, Great Australian Stories, where we hear from you, our listeners. Yesterday, we heard from Emma Salerno, who was the co-founder of Ringers Western, a wonderful, iconic Australian brand. You know, they do so much charity work. They also offer our servicemen and women personnel as well at 30% off their clothing, because they want to be able to give back. They're cattle farmers, the salt of the earth, these people who are proud of being Australians, who work hard, who give everything they have for this country and who want to see it succeed. They're the stories we need to tell leading up to Australia Day. I had a text earlier this morning about, you know, what does Australia Day mean? What should it be about? This. Being grateful, celebrating, enjoying what this country has to offer. And it's precisely why I've decided to bring in 2GB favourite Janette Lakiss on for her Great Australian Story. Good afternoon, Janette.
Good afternoon, Lucy.
Oh, I'll tell you, it was so great. I mean, this is the first time that I've met you. It just happened today. And to know of your history, your background working in media, the people that you've worked with. I mean, you were a handmaiden for Lawsy. You have so many incredible stories to tell. But the one that gripped me the most was the story of your family, and your mum in particular, and the love and affection she had for this country. Please tell us about their history and how your mum and dad came to meet.
So thank you for that. So my dad's sister, my Auntie Vicky, she was a Red Cross volunteer during World War II, and that was in Zrata in Lebanon, and my family are from Zrata, and it's also in the summer they all go to Ehdin in Lebanon. I hope for the Lebanese listeners out there, I hope my pronunciation is correct. I think it might be with a bit of an Australian slang to it.
Like all of us now.
So my Auntie Vicky was working volunteer in the Red Cross, and she met an Australian Army soldier called Jack Yates. And they fell in love. This is during World War II. And they fell in love, got married in Lebanon, and Jack Yates brought my Auntie Vicky to Australia. She loved it so much. My mum and dad then followed with my eldest brother, Tony. Tony's an avid 2GB listener, so he may be listening. I don't know.
Bless you, Tony. Welcome. We hope you are.
So they brought Tony with them, and this was in 1948 to Australia. And from the day that they arrived in Australia, Mum said she just loved Australia and was so grateful. The story goes that they actually came out on an Australian Army aeroplane. And in those days, Mum said you were sitting on like a wooden chair, like a wooden bench that went across, and it was one bench facing the other bench across the plane. And it took them several days to get here. I believe they went past the Taj Mahal in India and Darwin to get to Australia back in those days.
Wow.
So then, anyhow, they got here, and Mum and Dad ended up in Marrickville. And one of the first houses that they owned in Marrickville, there was Mum see, Mum never copped racism. This is the thing. I hear this racism. Mum never copped that. And there was a lovely Australian lady who lived next door to Mum and Dad in Marrickville. This was in their first house in Renwick Street, Marrickville. And there were other Australian people starting to arrive, and they had no money. Mum and Dad came with nothing. They didn't have any money or anything. And they worked hard. From the day they got here, they worked their butts off and were just grateful for everything. There was no handouts from the government. There was no, what are we getting? It was, it was, what can we do for your country? It was that attitude, because they were so grateful. Anyhow, this Australian neighbour said to Mum, why don't you set up some beds in the house to help, these men that are coming out, which Mum then did. She never took rent off them or anything, but they provided somewhere for them to sleep. She did their washing, their ironing, cooking. And the story goes, I could keep you here all day telling so many stories.
You can stay.
But when my dad passed away in the year 2000, and my mum, God bless my mum and rest her soul, passed away on the 6th of June last year, and she was nearly 100 years old.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear it.
She was just a thank you. She was just a beautiful, I still cry. I just miss her so much.
But how could you not? As
my son and my daughter say, she was just such a constant in everyone's lives. I think we just thought she'd live on forever. Anyhow, at her funeral, my brother actually asked me to say a few words on his behalf, which I did. I got up and, told the history of them coming to Australia and all of that. And then I decided, I said to everyone at the funeral, I said, look, I could talk forever about all the things that Mum has done and what this country has been like for my mum. But can I say this? And I said to it was at St Bridget's Catholic Church at Marrickville. We're Catholics. My parents are of the Maronite Catholic religion. And I said there were hundreds and hundreds of people. St Bridget's Catholic Church at Marrickville was full. It was totally full. And I then said, to those of you who either lived with Mum and Dad in the early days and then or have had the children or grandchildren, please stand up. And lots of people stood up. Then I said, those of you, we then moved to another house. They moved to a house in 16 Darley Street, Marrickville. And that house became like a mentoring house for so many people who went on to university and have just contributed so much, because obviously they wanted education, became a big thing. Wonderful tradespeople as well, like, plumbers, electricians, builders, people that contributed and still contribute to this country. So I then said, for those of you who have, studied at Mum's and, lived at Mum's house and Mum helped to bring you up, please stand up. And again, people said, those of you who are godchildren to my mother, because she was godmother to many children, please stand up. And then I said, and those of you who have come to Mum's for breakfast, lunch or dinner and been sent home with ice cream containers full of Lebanese food, please stand up. By that point, everyone in the church was standing up.
Wow.
And people, and I said, and Mum's big thing was she would always, when she said goodbye to you, she would always say, God bless you, God be with you, and God bless this country, Australia.
Wow.
She was so proud to be, never forgot her Lebanese heritage, but was always proud to be Australian, and instilled in all of us that it's not, you don't come here for handouts. You're coming here to help, to provide, and work your butt off, and build and love this country. And it was considered the lucky country, and I hope it still is. Mum would be so upset to have known what we've all just recently experienced with this tragic Bondi. Like, that was just
awful.
So terrible, so tragic. And
I dare say it's not the Australia she would have recognised.
Not at all, not at all. Look, I actually, being brought up in Marrickville, I have to say, back in the day, you didn't even let on that you knew where Marrickville was. Now, Marrickville,
they had a decent Greek population.
I was about to say, it went through different names. It was Little Italy, Little Athens, Little Vietnam. Like, Marrickville got called lots of different things. But there was never trouble. I don't recall trouble. Like, everyone just, assimilated. and everyone got on with each other. Lots of people started marrying into very multicultural marriages. There's lots of crossover marriages. It didn't matter what country you're from or what religion. It was just all about being proud to be Australian and working hard. And that's actually at the funeral, a lot of people were like, "Where did you get that idea? Where did you get that idea to ask people to stand up?" And I actually thought about it later, because a lot of people, as they're walking past at the end of the funeral, there's the condolences. And I heard people going, "Oh, I want my children to do that for me when I pass away." And, one of my cousins said, "Oh, what am I going to say, Mum? For those of you who have had popcorn at my mum's, please stand up."
But it sounds like your mum was a very special and extraordinary person in the way of she wanted to open her home up to help people. What were your impressions like as her daughter, observing all of this and the experiences and the interactions that you would have witnessed?
Well, in Darley Street, Marrickville, I actually was brought up with. So one of the rooms that we had, there were 3 single beds in one room. It was a big room. It's a big house, like it's a massive home. And I had myself in the middle bed, and the other 2 single beds were 2 cousins of mine. So they were brought up in that household. And then in one of the back rooms, there were 2 brothers. They brought, I don't recall anything other than having a wonderful life. We never argued. There was one bathroom. How we all managed with the one bathroom, But what I do want to point out is I finally worked out where I got that idea of everyone to stand up. And it was from that movie, One Life. The story about Nicholas Winton, who rescued all those Jewish children out of, I think it was Czechoslovakia or somewhere, and he was being interviewed on a TV show. And at the interview, the interviewer said, "Okay, if there's the lady next to you actually is one of the people that you've rescued." And then she said,
I cried watching this footage.
Then she said, "The rest of you who have, anyone else in the audience," and by the end of it, the entire audience, I bawled my eyes out. I mean, that was just amazing.
So powerful. But then you obviously knew to do that because of the reach and the heart that your mother had and the influence that she had over these people who, as you rightly said, have gone on to become successful, fully functional members, contributing to society.
That's right.
And that's what it's about. We don't care where you hail from, but we do care that you love, appreciate, respect and adore this country because it deserves that.
Exactly.
Jeanette, what a remarkable
story. And that's
story.
just one of many stories. I'm sure there's many listeners out there who could call in with the most incredible stories about their families and what they've contributed and how grateful we all are to be in this wonderful country, Australia.
Oh, God bless you and amen. And I just could not agree with you more. Jeanette, thank you so much for sharing your beautiful story, for being a part of our 2GB team. I mean, I'm already seeing the texts come in and sharing their own stories. This is what it's about. To our listeners, our guests, they are not exclusive in this situation. I want to hear your story, your affection for this country, your experience and how you are grateful, because they are the stories worth platforming. They are the ones that deserve to be heard, particularly as we build towards January 26. Thank you, Janette. One last point.
I've got a couple of cousins, can I mention them, who are well known. I've got my cousin, Michael Checker, who was the Wallabies coach and is now the assistant coach for the Roosters. Another good story.
Talk about crossing over.
and cousin Adam Dewey, who's a footballer for the West Tigers. So, yeah. So it was the Lakiss family and the Dewey's or Deweys. So
beautiful people, and thank you. We're so grateful to have you in this country, and what a great story to share. Janette Lakiss, let's have a quick break and then we'll get to some news. I use some wonderful feedback pouring in off the back of my interview for our Great Australian Stories segment this week, and our wonderful guest, a favourite here at 2GB, Janette Lakiss. Beautiful on the text line. Will, Janette, here, you are an example of an immigrant who has built this nation. Stand up, Australia, and applaud. This one from Ruth. Lucy, thank you so much for this interview. Hearing the story, it resonated so much and had some eerie parallels with the eulogy I was writing yesterday for my own mum's funeral this Thursday. Ruth, I'm so sorry to hear about the loss of your mother. God bless her. May her soul rest in peace. But, thank you for taking the time to write in and thank us for the interview, because I think these are stories worth sharing. Another one from Roy via the text line. Hi, Lucy. Love your approach to the cause. Keep up the great work. Thank you, mate. I appreciate it, because I think we need to flip the script. This is what this country's about, and that's what we should stick to celebrating. But he said here, JFK said, ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. Amen. All the best to you and your family. God bless you, Roy. Thank you, Roy. God bless you, mate. And just so great to see this feedback. Keep it coming. This one from Siv, one of our regular listeners. Great to have your company, Siv. Thank you so much for your loyal listenership. He says, Janette's story was wonderful. I love the way she told it. And so many people have similar accounts that they're able to share, including Nick, who's phoned in from Penrith. Good afternoon, Nick.
Good afternoon, Lucy. I love you, love you, love you. And it was just beautiful listening to Janet. It brought a tear to my eye. I grew up in Marrickville, near Newington College on Marrickville, on Newington Road, Marrickville. I used to frequent Marrickville shops, go to Enmore Pool. Mum worked 2 jobs. She cleaned trains at night at Chilora, and she worked in a wool mill at Marrickville. There was a big wool mill down near Marrickville, down near Enmore Pools. Dad was a painter, worked in a steel mill. Proud Australians, they raised 4 kids here. Proud Australians, the 4 kids. We've got doctors in the family, we've got teachers in the family, we've got architects in the family. We are proud of our country, of this country. We are proud of what we've contributed. We're happy that to live here and to enjoy what this nation has given us, has offered us. We came out in the late 50s, and we're Australian. It's as simple as that. And proud as punch. And I'm going to fly a flag in the front of my house on the 26th. I don't care what anyone says. And my name's Vasiliadis, so it's not a skip name. It's a WOG name, and proud of it, mate.
And you know what's funny, Nick? It's, to use that term, and some people get upset, but amongst the WOG community, that's what we call each other. But for a lot of the WOGs that did come here, mate, I tell you, the stories are so similar, aren't they? Came here, my dad arrived to Australia in Sydney the next day after he got off the boat, which he sat on for a month in 1968. He went to work at the Holden factory and was helping to build cars, right? Put parts together, clean the parts, and he learned how to speak thanks to a Scotsman who was teaching him through hand gestures. I mean, these are the great Australian stories. But my father, much like Janette's, and when my mother eventually arrived 2 years later after her visa was approved, they never expected anything from the government. They didn't come here saying, what can you do for me? They came here saying, thank you, thank you, thank you for what you have done for me and for my children and my family. That's what it's about, Nick. And thank you so much for sharing your story today. Much appreciated.